Squid game. It was characterized by the squid because it was played inside a drawing on the ground that resembled the shape of a squid. It is played by dividing the participants into two opposing teams, attack and defense. The defender is allowed to run normally on both legs. If the attacker manages to enter the drawing, then the attacker is allowed to run on both legs. He will be called the secret inspector. In the final stage, the attackers gather at the entrance to the squid and they are trying to avoid it. The defenders reach the squid's head and they stand on it. If the defender was able to expel the attacker by land, he would draw a squid. The attacker dies and can't try again. Then defeat the defenders. And this is a squid game. And we go to Squd. An unemployed and failed person sits with his mother in her apartment so that she can spend money on him. He cannot pay the interest on the loan he took. He waits for his mother to leave home so he can obtain a visa, and he withdraws money from her. But he was surprised that she changed the password. He cannot withdraw money from it. He keeps trying out the numbers of birthdays he remembers until he celebrates his daughter's birthday, and he succeeds to withdraw money and bet on horse racing. For the first time in his life, he had money. Give the receptionist money, but because of jinx and bad luck, she steals money from him when she bumps into him. He's running away from debt until they arrest him, and after they beat him, they force him to sign his member's waiver. If he does not pay his money at the end of the month, they will still be allowed to take his kidney and one of his eyes. With the approval he signed himself, he goes back to the receptionist and takes the tip from her. Because he doesn't have money, he brings his daughter a gift for her birthday. All his attempts fail due to his bad luck, until a little boy helps him and wins a locked gift. He goes to give his daughter a gift for her birthday. Default text. It is a pistol-shaped lighter, but his daughter is happy because her father brought her a gift too. But he took it from her, so as not to hurt herself in the fire and promise his daughter next year. He'll get her a big gift. It seemed like his daughter wanted to tell him something, but she retracts her words and remains silent. He takes his daughter to her mother's house. He returns to board the train. He did not catch him and waited for the next train. Someone comes next to him and offers to play with him. It's called duckgy. It's made of two pieces of cardboard. One is thrown to the ground and the other remains in the player's hands. If the player is able to hit the pieces in his hand on the plots in the ground, and he turns it over. If you don't turn, he loses. The man offers Squd that if he wins, he will give him 100,000. Squd tries his first luck and as usual fails, and the man plays his role. He succeeds in turning over his piece on the ground. He doesn't have the money to tell him he can slap him instead of money. Squd tries another round. He hits him again. Squd keeps failing and gets beaten until his face turns red. Last time, Squd won and was very happy. And he takes 100,000. Tell him he can make it happen. He earns a lot of money by playing. He starts by telling him that he knows his entire history and that he is almost unemployed now. He only works as a driver. His money is not enough to support him. You have also signed a waiver to relinquish your organs because he is in debt. 1 million for the debt and 25 million for the bank. He has a 10-year-old daughter who lives with his ex-wife and gives him his own number. He tells him if you want to make millions, call me. He leaves him and walks. Squd is happy because he has money. He buys dinner for himself and his mother and they eat together. His mother tells that his wife and her husband and his daughter, they will move to live in America. Squd is shocked by what he heard. He remembered that his daughter was going to tell him that. His mother tries to encourage him by telling him that he should get custody of his daughter. He must be able to support his daughter before the court. Night comes and he cannot sleep from thinking too much. To some extent, he decides to call the man's number and says he is ready to participate. And he keeps waiting until the car stopped in front of him and the driver asked him, "Password." He said that. Once inside the car, the sleeping gas is released. Squd faints in the car, except for the driver because he is wearing a gas mask. Squd wakes up in a large, spacious place with a lot of people. He finds himself dressed like the rest. He got number 456. There's a camera in front of every person you're watching. All attendees are monitored by designated people. Squd moves from his place. He finds a screen in front of him that shows the number of people in the place. Squd is the last person to come to this place and meets an old man. Number 1. He asks him what led you to a place like this. The old man tells him that he has a tumor on his brain. He is about to die and has nothing to lose. A man and a woman are quarreling because of problems between them. Until Squd comes over. He discovers that she is the one who stole it. Before they could finish talking together, people enter through the gate. They wear masks with a circle drawn on them. One person has a mask with a square drawn on it. He talks to everyone present and tells them they will all participate in 6 different matches. In 6 days, whoever wins all 6 matches will win a huge cash prize. Their mobile phones and wallets will be returned to them once the game is over. The work team forms will remain hidden to preserve the confidentiality of the work team. One of the players says he does not believe them and does not trust what they say. The masked man starts telling them that they all owe large amounts of money. They were filmed playing Jackie and then took the money. At that time, they all trusted the person who handed them the money. Call his number to enter the game. They are allowed to return to their miserable lives or continue with them. The 6 matches are unknown to every player. They'll know once they participate in it, and soon asks them about the value of the prize. They say this is the piggy bank on top of them. They will be filled with money after the first game they play. He will tell them the amount after the first match is over. All participants have the right to either withdraw or go ahead and sign a game contract. The first clause in the contract will be that the player, you can never stop playing. The second condition is to exclude a player who refuses to play. Third, the game ends if the majority agrees to its end. After all attendees sign the contract, they go to the play hall. They are photographed, and the game leader watches everything that happens. Soon meets his childhood friend Sang and tries to talk to him. But Sang tells him he will tell him what happened, and they go to the play hall. At the end of the hall, he saw a large doll standing. In front of him is a red ribbon drawn on the ground. The doll turns its head and gives them its back. They are required to reach the finish line. They should stop moving as soon as the doll turns its head. They are allowed to run. The doll turns its head and says green signal, red signal. The game starts and everyone starts running. But when the doll turns around and sees the first player to move, it is unlikely. A gunshot is hard, losing player falls to the ground. Nobody understands what happened. Someone approaches the fallen player and finds blood coming out of his mouth. He feels terrified and runs away. He kills HUA too, because the doll has a motion sensor. It is able to determine who is moving. Chaos and blood spread everywhere, because the majority of players want to escape from their fear. They were eliminated, and the commander was watching them. He enjoys watching them. They moto in front of him until the doll completes the game. The first person to move among them after the massacre that occurred was the old man. The rest of the players start running and stop. One of them fell on Seong. He tries to get up from his place. They have a specific time within which they must cross the red line. Well, soon runs he steps on someone's foot, and before he falls, and before the doll sees him, he finds someone named Ali holding him and preventing him from falling and dying, and they move forward together. The period ends, and everyone who failed to reach the red line, he is killed, and the location of an island in the middle of the sea is revealed. All bodies that die are burned, even people who have a soul, and the rest of the players will be shocked by what they saw, until the crew enters and tells them that their number is less than 456 players, and that 255 players have died. But all the players object and beg them to stop the game, and they beg them to quit the game, and everyone starts turning against the team, so that the masked person appears and tells them, according to the conditions of the second clause, that any player who refuses to play will be excluded. However, Sanju says that the third clause states the games will end if the majority votes to terminate the game. The masked person agrees with him, but he tells the rest of the players to first look at the prize money that will be added to the piggy bank. And the piggy bank starts filling up with a huge amount of money, and greed becomes evident on their faces. And for every player who passed away, 100 million is put into the piggy bank. And the number of players who passed away is to 55. This means that the money in the piggy bank is 25 billion and 500 million, and they have complete freedom to withdraw, and the money will then go to the families of the players who passed away. But the most important thing is that the final prize will be 45 billion, and the masked figure asks them to vote using the buttons in front of them. The voting will be done in reverse order of their numbers. The first one to vote will be Seong. The green button means to continue, and the red button means to withdraw. He presses the red button, and all the players begin voting. In the end, the votes are tied. Then it's player one's turn, the old man, and he votes to end the game. And indeed, the game ends, and the masked officer tells them that everyone will return to their homes, but they have the chance to come back to the game again. They are scattered in different locations and thrown out while still tied up. The first thing Seong does is report to the police about what happened, but no one believes him. He gives them the card. The policeman calls the number on the card, but he found that an old woman was answering him. Reprimand him for calling so early like that, and Seong is being kicked out of the center. And there's a police officer named Wang standing and watching what's happening.
My friends, the first part has now ended. Please subscribe to the channel to encourage us to continue.